Kiana will be reciting 6 to 8 Black Men by David Sedaris.
When traveling abroad, a good conversation starter is, when do you open your Christmas presents? As I think it explains a lot about national character. In France and Germany, gifts are exchanged on Christmas Eve, while in the Netherlands, the children open their presents on December 5th, in celebration of St. Nicholas Day. It sounded sort of quaint, until I spoke to a man named Oscar, who filled me in on a few of the details as we walked from our hotel to the Amsterdam train station. Unlike the jolly, obese American Santa, St. Nicholas is painfully thin and dresses not unlike the Pope, topping his robes with a tall hat resembling an embroidered tea cozy. The outfit, I was told, is a carryover from his former career when he served as the Bishop of Turkey. I'm sorry, I said, but could you repeat that? One doesn't want to be too much of a cultural chauvinist, but this seemed completely wrong to me. For starters, Santa didn't used to do anything. He's not retired, and more important, he has nothing to do with Turkey. It's too dangerous there, and the people wouldn't appreciate him. When I asked how he got from Turkey to the North Pole, Oscar told me with complete conviction that St. Nicholas currently resides in Spain, which again, is simply not true. Though he could probably live wherever he wanted, Santa chose the North Pole specifically because it is harsh and isolated. No one can spy on him, and he doesn't have to worry about people coming to the door. Anyone can come to the door in Spain, and in that outfit, he must certainly be recognized. On top of that, aside from a few pleasantries, Santa doesn't speak Spanish. Hello, how are you? Can I get you some candy? Fine, he knows enough to get by, but he's not fluent, and he certainly doesn't eat tapas. While the American version flies in on a magic sled, the Dutch Santa arrives by boat and then transfers to a white horse. Does he come with any backup? I asked. Oscar's English was close to perfect, but he seemed thrown by a term normally reserved for police reinforcement. Helpers, I said. Does he have any elves? Maybe I'm being overly sensitive here, but I couldn't help but feel personally insulted when Oscar denounced the very idea as grotesque and unrealistic. Elves, he said, they're just so silly. The words silly and unrealistic were redefined when I learned that in the Netherlands, St. Nicholas travels with what was consistently described as 6 to 8 black men. I asked several Dutch people to narrow it down, but it was always 6 to 8, which seems strange, seeing as they've had hundreds of years to get an accurate head count. The 6 to 8 black men were characterized as personal slaves until the mid-1950s, when the political climate changed, and it was decided that, instead of being slaves, they were just good friends. I think history has proven that something usually comes between slavery and friendship. A period of time marked not by cookies and quiet hours beside the fire, but by bloodshed and mutual hostility. They have such violence in the Netherlands, but rather than duke it out amongst themselves, Santa and his former slaves decided to take it out on the public. In the early years, if a child was naughty, St. Nicholas and the 6 to 8 black men would beat him with what Oscar described as the small branch of a tree. He went on, they would kick the child and beat him with it. Then, if the youngster was really bad, they would stuff him into a sack and take him back to Spain. I was shocked. St. Nicholas would kick you? Well, not anymore, he said. Now he just pretends to kick you. He considered this to be progressive, but in a way, I think it's almost more perverse than the original punishment. I'm going to hurt you, but not really. How many times have we fallen for that one? The fake slap invariably makes contact, adding the elements of shock and betrayal to what had previously been just plain old-fashioned fear. What kind of a Santa spends his time pretending to kick people before stuffing them into a canvas sack? Not to mention the 6 to 8 former slaves who could potentially go off at any moment. This, I think, is the greatest difference between us and the Dutch. While a certain segment of our population might be perfectly happy with this arrangement, if you told the average white American that 6 to 8 black men would be sneaking into his house in the middle of the night, he would barricade the doors and arm himself with whatever he could get his hands on. While 8 flying reindeer are a hard pill to swallow, our Christmas story remains relatively dull. Santa lives with his wife in a remote polar village and spends one night of the year traveling around the world. If you're bad, he leaves you cold. If you're good and live in America, he'll give you just about anything you want. A Dutch parent has a decidedly hairier story to relate, telling your children, listen, you might want to pack a few of your things together before going to bed. The former Bishop of Turkey will be coming tonight along with 6 to 8 black men. They might put candy into your shoes, they might stuff you into a sack and take you to Spain, or they might just pretend to kick you. We don't know for sure, but we want you to be prepared. Oscar finished his story as we arrived at the train station. Sitting alone in the vast, vibrant train terminal, surrounded by thousands of Dutch people, I couldn't help but feel second rate. Yes, the Netherlands was a small country, but it had 6 to 8 black men and a really good bedtime story. Thank you.